Welcome to The Spotlight, the podcast where veterans and military spouses connect and share how their military experience has transformed their lives and their businesses. Here's your host, Bob Louthen.
Hey, this is your host, Bob Louthen, founder of the VeteranCrowd Network, the network that brings veterans and veteran-led businesses together with each other and the resources they need to prosper. And you are tuning into The Spotlight. Hey, everybody, this is your host, Bob Louthen on the VeteranCrowd Network. Today, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, fishing. That's right. I've been teaching my kids to fish. My dad taught me how to fish. It's a great pastime. Our guest today is the founder and CEO of TruFishing Inc, Tim Doelger. He's a U.S. Navy veteran, a former Submariner. Tim, thanks for joining the program. Thanks for stepping into the spotlight today.
Awesome. Glad to be here, Bob. Thanks for having me.
This is really interesting. You're a marketing guy, an interesting background. Tell us how TruFishing Inc came to be. What was the thing that inspired it?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's been quite a road. I started out to try to solve a problem casting your fishing line further with a company called Cast Further. So we built remote control boats that would drag your line up to a mile if you had that much line. Then we went to waterproof drones and cameras that recorded the catch. Nobody wanted that stuff, so we learned a lot. We kind of got involved with the American Sport Fish Association and RBFF, which is an industry that supports recreational fishing and boating. We went to their business summits. We sat down with industry leaders and said, what is going on in this industry and how can we increase participation? Because Bob, you probably guess on the outdoor world, no matter if it's running, hiking, whatever, you're up against Fortnite, you're up against Pokemon and the cell phone. So we learned a lot, and we learned that what I think is missing in the industry out of 55 million people that participate is sharing that short snippet of emotion. So we see the phenomenon on TikTok with, a 10-second video that can go viral. Let's apply that to fishing, but also, Bob and his family only have specific times that they can go on vacation. So let them fish when and where and how they want, but let them join a group around a theme. And so that's what we did. We didn't say you have to be on Lake Okeechobee this Saturday at 6 a.m. because you can't. But we said this month, hey, submit your best emotional thing that wraps around this theme. And that's where we landed.
You've got a contest going on right now in this regard in context of Father's Day.
We did, and we still do. You still have until July 11th, I believe, to submit your emotion. But there's an example of, maybe folks were doing other things on Father's Day. Maybe it was raining on one half of the country on Father's Day, so they couldn't go fishing. So, we open it up to a length of time where you can comfortably fish and submit to these contests and win stuff. In this case, it's a $500 gift card to any bait and tackle shop that you care about. So it's not biased. All it's saying is you submit the best video around that theme and the community will vote it. So now you're saying, hey, look at my video, please vote me up. And so then TruFishing takes the top 10 and we judge it, and then there'll be a winner that can now reinvest back into the market or the fishing industry.
Tim,
so, and then, Bob catches a fish, he's going to tell 10 of his friends to vote him up. You just earn 10 people that might consider going fishing.
Did you grow up fishing?
I did, influenced by my pop, which is a case in most areas. And, like National Fatherhood Initiative got behind this Father's Day thing too, right? Fathers are pretty influential in the market. In fact, underneath my desk here is my old man's prop from his 34-foot Chris Craft. So yeah, and
water fishing or freshwater fishing?
Mostly salt, but yeah, certainly have a couple bass under my belt as well, pickerel and things like that. It's funny, the market is 75% freshwater out of the 55 million, and the 25% is offshore. I find offshore just just more entertaining for me personally.
Takes a little bit of more equipment to get out there, whereas fishing, you got the cane pole in a pond. You can start your kids off catching brim and sunfish and that sort of thing.
Well, that's the thing. It's like maybe Bob's family couldn't have access to go offshore fishing. Maybe they only have access to freshwater. So how do we open up those gates? And you're starting to see a lot of that with like things like Freedom Boat Club or Get My Boat, where now all of a sudden Bob and his family can say, let me rent this boat for a day and I'll go saltwater fishing. So we're doing contests where, like last year, we did a global contest. You got points for each different species that you caught. So, Bob may be familiar with fishing in his local pond, but now he's got to move. He's got to go geographically move and catch different species. And so he gets more points for each different species. That's going to open you up to the market and open you up to new opportunities and create more memories just for you and your family.
People sort of joke about fishing, but it really is a skill sport. I mean, there are people that go bass fishing and don't catch anything, and there are others like my middle son who seems to have a knack for it. It really is a skilled sport, right?
Yeah, I mean, even when you get into the legal stuff, there's games of skill and there's games of chance. This is a game of skill. But, like I said, maybe Bob only has access to his one pond, so how can he compete against a guy in Wicked Tuna, right? If the name of the game is the biggest fish. We're getting rid of those rules. We're not saying it's the biggest fish. It's the best experience that you showed and demonstrated. It could be a conversation on the way to fishing that was that one memory that was captured that made an impact in somebody's life. So
when did you guys found TruFishing, and are there some stories in the first few years that sort of jumped to mind that had been sort of satisfying?
They're all really just eye openers. I mean, from starting the business in June of 2017, I begged, borrowed, and stealed from Princeton, from Rutgers, from NJIT, from Monmouth University. I went to all their IT people and said, help me build this app. I spent a lot of money making mistakes. But along the way, and based on, like just stories on LinkedIn about fishing, we created this team, and you'll see it in the partner page or in the About Us page on our website, but a team that's just really well balanced, but it took a long time. And I would just say, like, from an entrepreneurial standpoint, to other entrepreneurs or veteran entrepreneurs, your first idea, you have to be humble enough not to think that your idea is always the right thing. You have to test it in the market and test it in the market. And a lot of entrepreneurs, they'll come to you with a great idea and they think they're going to boil the ocean. And the first question you ask is, how many people said they would pay $1 for it? And if they don't have an answer to that, then they're going to find themselves in a position where they either have to be humble enough to accept to pivot, or they're going to fail.
Tim, have you always been an entrepreneur?
Yeah.
Tell me about that. I wonder.
I mean, I sold more newspapers when I was a kid. Now I don't even think you're allowed to ride your bike around and sell newspapers. But my paper would only let you sell 25 newspapers. That was it for a paper boy. So I bought 2 packs, right? Sold the first pack, then went and stood in front of the pharmacy and sold the other ones. I would go to the car dealerships and hand out a free newspaper and say, hey, can I go to Dunkin' Donuts for you and pick you up a coffee? Guys would throw me a 10 easy. That mentality is kind of how I grew up, and it just always moved into that direction. And I always, like, even after, being inspired by the nuclear submarine business, loved technology and selling that technology to corporations to better their mission. So, yeah, I have endless stories of things that I've even created or failed to create, but have always just had that little spark inside of me. And it's,
I'm going to follow up on that. What's a failure that you encountered that probably taught you a lot? I mean, that's what I think most entrepreneurs say, is the lessons I learned really came from the stuff I screwed up more from the things that I got right.
Yeah. I mean, I'll go back to the waterproof drone casting machine. It was called the Auto Caster. I thought it was going to solve the world. The thing of it is that saltwater anglers or people that want to cast super, super far, that market is so small, it's probably not even worth your time. I mean, it is, but the legal regulations on running a drone on any public beach, we didn't even think about. It's like, how, you know, in hindsight, it's like, how could you be so stupid? And then to go get product liability insurance, you would have to be, you know, a Fortune 500 company to afford that. And then, you know, Bob buys my Autocaster drone, and by some software glitch, he chops off the, you know, somebody's arm by a mistake, and you're out of business. So yeah, that's one great example of just, again, you know, you kind of get into the weeds with an idea, you think your idea is the best thing in the world, and it ends up, you know, you have to either own it and pivot, or, you know, close the books.
And now a word about a VeteranCrowd Spotlight sponsor. The Severn River Leadership Group is a veteran-owned small business committed to the development and success of military veterans, first responders, elite athletes, and our community. We invest in each with our time, talent, and treasure through small business investing, coaching, and consulting. Leadership can be a very lonely place because of all of the responsibility and accountability involved and the decisions that need to be made. In today's world, small business owners and entrepreneurs need a trusted advisor in their corner to have real conversations about real life and business stuff. That's what the Severn River Leadership Group provides: personal leadership and team coaching for small business owners and entrepreneurs focused on emotional intelligence, personal and team resilience, decision-making, and team effectiveness. If you are a veteran, first responder, or elite athlete small business owner looking for a trusted advisor to help you get to the next level, connect with us online at www.severnriverleadershipgroup.com.
Our guest is Tim Doelger. He's the founder and CEO of TruFishing Inc. Tim, I want to go back and explore your youth. How did you wind up joining the United States Navy?
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of a, you know, I think when we're 18, we're all sort of a little bit punkish. I might have led that crowd for a bit. But, you know, I always had a hustle for business and just smart technology. I loved it. I loved everything about, you know, the coolest stuff out there. And I guess on my 18th birthday, I went to the downtown, and you know, there's Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines recruiter. I sat down, I went to every one of them. And the last guy was the Navy. And I said, what's the coolest thing you can do? And I basically went in there with blinders on and saying, you know, anybody who joins the military really doesn't have much going on. And it was just a stigma back then. And still today, maybe. But anyways,
not to date you, but what time frame was this?
It was 1989.
Okay.
You know, Persian Gulf War right before. And I can tell you stories about that. But this guy sat me down and he said, well, you know, I looked at your scores and you could be on a nuclear submarine. I said, how am I going to not sit and paint a boat? Because I thought, just, you know, going in the Navy,
you want to be chipping rust off the hull of
he said, look,
scow. And
yeah, he said, look at this. This is my, you know, I'm a submariner. And he pulled out his drawer and he just started showing me pictures. He's like, I've been on this boat for 4 years. This is what I do. And I'm telling you, I can get you on this boat after 2 years of training. Do you want to do it or not? And I said, yeah, sign me up. And that was it. I said, if I get an opportunity to actually be on a submarine, I've got to do it. And that's what I did. So loved
it. Do you think that your time in the military gave you some disciplines to be a more successful business person?
You know, you got 150 guys and now women on a nuclear submarine, or a ballistic nuclear submarine. You learn in an instant just by looking at somebody whether you can trust them. And I don't mean an instant, but you have a barometer of trust with with people that kind of, you can tell, do they have your back? Are they trustworthy? You know, that kind of thing. Now, when you join Nuclear Submarine Force, that's 1% of 1%. Like, not a lot of people get in there because you have top secret security clearances and things like this. But that ecosystem, that environment made me really aware of, you know, bullshit or not, truth or not, trust or not. And so I think that that's the most valuable lesson I got out of that, without a doubt.
Is that missing in business? You know, how's our
Yeah, it's like,
culture?
you
Let's
know,
talk about culture versus military right now. Tell me a little bit about that. I mean, it's,
I
you
love
know,
it
I
because
think we kind of get out of the military and we're a little bit naive.
well, so talk about culture and business, and we'll bring this into TruFishing. We are theme based. Patagonia is theme based. Bass Pro Shops, perhaps, maybe we'll take them out of. Let's go
I
back to
hope
Patagonia.
VeteranCrowd is theme based.
Well, there you go. So, what are they doing to walk the walk or walk the talk instead of just, you know, is this missing in business? Well, is Patagonia rewarding its employees for submitting outdoor events? You know, do you kind of get where I'm going? Are they walking the walk? So what we did is we built the Outside In contest, and that's on our website right now. What that does is it creates bonds between employees by sharing fishing experiences. You don't get that. We're missing kind of the water cooler these days with the pandemic kind of making everybody remote. Plus, a global organization like Patagonia might have people dispersed all over the world. But now this employee's spouse shared something with this employee's spouse, and now, you know, there's a much better conversation. You're building trust, camaraderie, and you'll see that it's meant for organizations to walk the talk. It's called the Outside In contest. And again, you know, the reward is, I think this one is a $500 gift card to any guide service or charter service of your liking. So it's not biased in any way. But, you know, American Cancer Society, right? They, you know, they could have bake sales and 5K walks and runs till they're blue in the gills. But I bet you through a national fishing contest that resonated with their theme, I could probably raise more money quicker and give them a gazillion different viral video clips to echo that theme and change hearts and minds.
How is your, I like to get into it with entrepreneurs, sort of the entrepreneurial journey. Okay. You know, what was sort of the darkest hour in the last 4 years? Yeah, everybody has one, right?
The world of no, Bob, the world of no. I mean, I guess when I started out, I knew I needed to get into an incubator, a business incubator, and there are a million sharks out there that will try to steal your money and provide very little services.
A lot of money.
I'll just tell you, like,
picks and shovels to the miners, right?
Everybody wants to say no. So let me explain one story. I was at an incubator inside of New Jersey Institute of Technology, NJIT, and it was a 6-month program or something like that. This was the Autocaster drone. I built it. I got a call from Mark Burnett's office, who is who runs America's Greatest Makers contest. It was run by Intel. It was a $1.2 million reward to the entrepreneur who had won the TV show, like Shark Tank, but it was called America's Greatest Makers, season 2. I got selected. And now I'm inside of this incubator at NJIT. And I go to the provost at NJIT. I go to the president at NJIT, and I say, "You gotta give me a team. We gotta get interviews done this Saturday. We have to launch this. Help me. The world of no. It's out of our scope. Fishing's a hobby. Blah blah blah. Just no. And that's been the most frustrating thing. Even trying to convince a major brand, as we were just talking, to walk the talk. It's like, if they have a reason to say no, they will. and it's like they're the ones that will be left behind. And so yeah, I guess I've been able to deal with the world of no, in the sense that I just don't waste a lot of energy on it. I'm looking for more entrepreneurial organizations that understand this is a small window to really capture a moment with technology.
How is the team building exercise coming along now that you're 4 years in? You mentioned your team a little bit earlier. Can you expand on the talent you've been able to attract to this?
Sure. Yeah, so we have Dr. Rudberg. He's out in Minnesota. Ed is a conservationist. He's a CEO of a big event across America, a big initiative to reduce invasive species. And he's just been a wealth of information in terms of networking with industry leaders. It brought us into, can we run fishing contests where you get certain points for showing that you captured invasive species, like the Asian carp? So Ed's been pretty cool there. We have Derek Peachy out in Montana. Derek and I actually worked together years prior, but he brings in technology and marketing. And Derek has introduced us to TechMent, which is kind of our folks that build apps and web apps, so we can kind of scale when we need them and when we don't need them. And yeah, we have Ilya Golden. He is another PhD, but more focused on artificial intelligence and data mining. And if you kind of look at what our business model is, and you'll see that on our partner page, it's kind of, outdoor brands introduce theme-based contests and people join them because they believe them. So it's a win-win. So you're saying, if you believe this, join this cause, which brings in a better kind of a communication between the brand and its ideal customer. So Ilya helps us sort that data and make it useful and non-invasive to the person that's participating in the cause. And then we have Rich. Rich is here in New Jersey. He's a gamification expert. And as we talked, the phenomenon of, Fortnite and Pokemon and such, gamification is really where we see the market. And Rich has just been a wealth of experience there.
One last question. How do you define success for TruFishing Inc? What's sort of the vision there? What's the mountaintop?
Yeah, I mean, the smile on the little girl's face as she catches her first fish. That's the mission for us. I mean, in business speak, it's massive customers and massive volume, but you gotta walk before you run. And today it's about impacting change and making a difference in people's lives, because when you do that, they have a way to kind of grow themselves in a what I call the network effect.
How do people get in touch with you?
73 no. Yeah, so yeah, just Tim at TruFishing.com. TIM at TruFishing. TruFishing is TRUFishing.com.
So that's the website. Are you guys on social media as well?
Indeed. We're getting there. We have all the typical channels. We're about to splash out some pretty cool stuff that's been trickling in over the last few weeks. Plus we have archives of just awesome emotions that you're going to start to see. But primarily, we deal on LinkedIn for the business community, and then, the other social networks for that emotional part.
So we'll put links to TruFishing.com and their social media outlets on the show notes. Tim, thank you for stepping into the spotlight. I really appreciate you being our guest today and sharing this story.
Yeah, I'm always interested to talk with other veterans. So, please have them reach out to me if they have questions.
Hey, you've been listening to the Spotlight on the VeteranCrowd Network. Our guest has been Tim Doelger, the founder and CEO of TruFishing Inc. Tim, I'm going to throw out a Army Bravo Zulu to you for your effort today. Thanks so much for being a guest, folks, and that's a wrap.
Thank you for listening to Spotlight by VeteranCrowd. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. For more information and uploads, please visit our website at VeteranCrowdNetwork.com. We'll see you next time.